Let's give the folks some juice here. What's one good, because these are inbound leads, but what's one good connecting question you've learned to ask? Because there's probably about 3 or 4 you have to ask for your space, but give us an example of one connecting question you ask and how they responded to that.
Okay, so first one would be, okay, well, I'm just curious, like, what was it about the ad that just caught your attention?
Yeah, see, your tone is a curious tone. Hey, I was just curious, like when you went through the ad, what was it about the ad that maybe attracted your attention? See his tone and his body language? Now, if I said it like this, I'm just curious, when you went through the ad, what was it about the ad that attracted your attention? Well, see, that sounds scripted. That sounds fake. That sounds like a sales question. Whereas how you did it, it sounds like, oh, he's generally curious about what attracted my attention, right? And now they start telling you why they responded to that, but more importantly, they tell themselves, right? And that gets them into that result-based thinking. Now, that's probably your second connecting question you ask. There's usually 1 or 2 after that. We don't have time, but let's talk about situation questions, because with situation questions, you have to help the prospect find and understand what their real situation is. And you can't tell them that, because that goes in one ear out the other, because you're biased, you're the salesperson. Your questions have to allow them to see what their real situation is, because to build a gap from where they are to where they want to be, if you can't help them find out what their real situation is, you can't build a gap to where they want to be if they don't know where they're at, right? So what's a good situation question you ask?
So for the people that have a job,
Yeah, okay.
I'll just simply say, okay, so what are you doing for work right now?
Yeah, because you have to find out, like if they're going into a business,
Yeah.
you're helping them maybe leave their job because they want to make more money and eventually both full-time business on.
Yeah.
Right?
Or possibly work less at their job that they don't.
Right.
love.
Yeah, they don't really love. They want to work less and they want to have more side income. So what do you do for work? What do you do for a living? That's a curious tone again, right? And now there's 3 or 4 other situation questions you ask after that for your space, but let's talk about problem awareness questions. What's a good problem awareness question we've taught you how to ask, and how do they react to that?
Yeah. So that job that you've been working, at for 5 years, do you like what you're doing?
Yeah, right. See, it's kind of a curious yet a little bit skeptical tone there that we do that. So we're trying to transition. So this job that you have for the past 5 years, do you like what you're doing for a living? See that verbal pause there? That's what you do for your space. Now, there's some other problem awareness questions you ask, depending on if they're like, oh yeah, I really like it, or well, I like it, but they're hemming and hawing, or oh my gosh, I hate it. Depends on what you say next. So now that and there's more problem awareness questions after that, but now that we've take the focus off us, put it on them with our connecting questions, we've helped them find out what their real situation is with our situation questions. We're now starting to build a gap from where they are compared to where they want to be with our problem awareness. Right. And now we need to get them to see what their future is going to look like once all these newfound problems that maybe they didn't really realize they had are solved. Those are solution awareness questions. Give us an example maybe of a solution awareness questions that kind of gets them to see what it could be like once it's solved.
Okay. So let's say we come in and like we were to work together and you were able to make $2,000 to $4,000 extra passively per month.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what would you do with that money?
Yeah. And why would you want to ask them that for your space? What does that do in their mind? Where does that take them?
It just helps them imagine what they would do, maybe like how they would feel as a person.
It gets them to visualize what they're going to do with that extra, say, $4,000 or $5,000 a month that they don't have.
Yeah.
Right. What are some typical responses you get?
They're saying, oh, well, I would just invest it, or
well, let's say after you invest it, like this is what you're paying yourself. You've already reinvested. You're paying yourself $5,000 extra a month over your job. What would you do? What would you really do with it?
Oh, I would travel.
Where would you go?
Yeah, Bali.
Why Bali? Why not go to Alaska?
I've always wanted to go to Bali.
Really? Yeah. So let's say that we're able to help you do that, and you start making that money. Who's the first person you're going to call and tell them that you're going to Bali?
Oh, my mom.
Why your mom?
Yeah, because I always told her I was going to go to Bali.
Really? Yeah. You've been able to call your mom and tell her that and actually go. What would that do for you?
the Wilson.
What way?
We just feel like my life is fulfilled and complete.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, see what we did there? See, we're clarifying and probing off his answers. That helps the prospect get into what we call their emotional state. And do human beings make buying decisions off logic or emotion? Emotion, right? Everybody says that. They just don't understand how to get them into their emotional state. See how by that little thing I just did there, now we've got the prospect visualizing him going to Bali, him calling his mom, and how that makes him feel.
Right.
Now he's starting to own that, and he's starting to see what his future looks like once these problems are solved. In your industry, his problem is he doesn't make enough money and he doesn't have enough time. That's why he's looking for an extra business, right? That's why he wants to do that. Now there's more to that. There's more you have to ask before and after that to set that up, of course. But let's talk about a consequence question, because right when he visualizes what it's going to be like and how it makes him feel, we want to rip that away from him where we get him to defend himself on why he has to change. What's a good consequence question you ask?
So what happens if nothing changes though, and you have to stay in your job for the next year, 5 years?
And what do they say?
Oh, no, I don't want.
Right, yeah, because now they're okay, but what if you don't do anything about this and you just stay in your job, same income, same hours the next 3, 5, 10 years? I mean, what happens in it? Oh, there's no way I'm going to let that happen, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's important for you to do something. Oh my gosh, yes, it is. See, it's hard. That builds urgency for them to do something now. What that does is it reduces greatly, probably by 80% reduces, I want to think it over. I want to do more research. I want to keep looking around. Have you found that?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. A lot of people, they'll give me like more surface answer.
Yeah.
And then I just wouldn't be okay with it. So I'll just say it in a different way.
Yeah.
And
to get them to go below the surface.
Yeah. It's just, we got to do that.
Yeah, 100%. You get them below the surface, it's over. I mean, the sale's pretty much done, because they've convinced themselves that they have to change, and you're the only person that's ever has gotten them to feel that way.
Yeah, because they're not going to ask themselves those questions.
Yeah,
in that way.
Yeah, that.
So now
they would know. They would know. So you're like the facilitator. You're like the guide on their journey, and that's your job as a salesperson, to be their guide and be the facilitator to get them where they want to be. And for them to do that, they have to solve their problems, because the problems that they have are causing them not to be where they want to be. Whatever you sell, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a toilet bowl. Okay, I'm not kidding on that. Train companies that sell toilet bowls. I'm no joke at this point, all right? You got to have toilet bowls. Okay, so we don't have time to go into your presentation, because that's like a process that we do, a 3-step process, and how we connect the emotional dots. How do you close a prospect? Because you pretty much do like a 1-call close, and then they have to get the funding, because you're selling like a $30,000 to $50,000 solution, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And mainly B2C, business to consumer. Okay.
So I just say, yeah, so everything we've shared here today, does this feel like this could work for you?
What do they say?
Yeah. They say, yeah.
Why do you feel like it is, though?
Exactly.
And what do they do?
And then they just start explaining, why. And
yes.
And then I go one level deeper sometimes. I say, okay, well, what specifically, I guess, makes you feel that way?
Yeah, what specific parts of what we covered today do you feel like are really going to get you there? Well, I really like this, and I like this, and I like this. Here's another step further. You can say, okay, but why not just, why do this now? Yeah. Like, why not just push it down the road like unsuccessful people would? Well, the reason why I don't want to be like because they don't want to be like well, so why look at starting your own business now? Like, why not just push this down the road like unsuccessful people would? Well, the reason why I have to do it now is because of this, 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 and this. Right. Pretty much impossible for them at that point to be like, you know what? I think I'm just going to wait on this. They can't, because they've told themselves why they can't. Any last words of advice you'd have for anybody watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast that's in sales? Because pretty much everybody that watches and listens to us in sales, a coach, consultant, a VP, could be a business owner. A lot of business owners follow us, sales professional, executive, sales manager. What would you say?
Yeah. So what I would say is, if you're truly okay with where you are, with the amount of income or how you feel, then just completely stay there. Don't worry about it. But if you want to, live a life more of growth and you want to, learn the right skills so that you can impact more people, bring more value, I would suggest, getting the right training.
Yeah, because if you want to double your income, can you double your working hours? Probably not. If you work 8 hours, are you going to work 16?
That's actually what most people say.
Or what? Yeah.
Like they're like, when I come up with the time to do my time work, I'll double.
How long is that 16-hour days going to last? It's not going to last very long. So if you want to double your sales, you want to triple your income, you can't triple your hours. You have to learn more advanced skills than you have now, right?
Yeah, that's actually why I joined 7th level, because I wanted to be the guy that can sell anything at any price.
Yeah, and you can now.
Yeah.
You could, let's say you're like, Amazon, I love Amazon, but Amazon says like, we're not going to do Amazon anymore. And you're like, what am I going to do? You can go sell anything you want and be the top rep. Yeah. Congratulations, man. Love that. I always have to ask, that's my last thing. I always know if we've done our job, is your spouse happy with you getting the training? Okay. That's all I needed to know. That tells me we're doing something right. All right, Brian, thanks everybody. Now, make sure you guys go to our free Facebook group. If you want more details, we'll give you a little bit more hors d'oeuvres. We give you a little hors d'oeuvres here, we give you a little nibbles in our Facebook group. Got about 47,000 people in that Facebook group. So go to salesrevolution.pro, salesrevolution.pro. Right when you join, check your messenger on Facebook. We'll have somebody on my team message you over a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. Just some different questions you can ask in different sales situations you're in. That alone will probably help you sell more. And we go live in that Facebook group 2-3 times a week, Q&As, trainings, give you nibbles. You want more advanced training like Brian and the tens of thousands of clients that come through every month with us now. Just hit us up in that Facebook group and you can book a time with one of our team members. It can go over the different training options that we have for your industry if you want to sell more. Brian, thanks for being on.
Thanks so much.
All right, bro. All right, everybody, stay out of trouble. Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.